dismount, tens from the Russian judge. We're done.
Hey, Maniacs.
Hey, Mystery Maniacs. Mystery Maniacs.
Wait. I'm too excited.
We are too excited to do the intro.
I'm too excited to let you do the intro.
Oh my gosh.
Guys, we have something so epic, so incredible. Well, we just have to play it for them.
We'll play it for you. So listen closely.
Listen, guys.
To this.
Hey, Maniacs. I'm no narc, but you're listening to the Mystery Maniacs podcast. It's aspirational.
Oh my gosh.
Did you recognize that voice?
Oh my gosh. I recognized her as our new friend, Tracy. As our new friend, Tracy Lee Gray.
Otherwise known as Trudy Nielsen from Brokenwood.
Oh my God. So,
hi, Tracy.
Hi, Tracy. Last Saturday night, we're sitting in the living room as we normally do on Saturday nights after we record. And I am furiously checking things on my phone.
I was like, what are you doing? And you're like, I need to know if it's really her. It might not be her. I don't know if it's her. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Because I had received a message from a listener answering a question.
We had asked a couple episodes ago, we had asked, like, how many businesses has Ray owned? Like, he's had, like, the Frog and Cheetah and the Snake and Tiger and Porky Pigeon. And then you got a Facebook message.
I got a Facebook message from Tracy Lee Gray, which said, hey, Maniacs. That alone is amazing. I think I'm qualified to answer this question for you. The 4 aspirational establishments that Ray and Trudy own are Frog and Cheetah, Toad and Lion, Snake and Tiger, Crocodile and Panther, and last, and very much least, Gourmet Ray's Porky Pigeon Pizzeria. Thanks for watching. Keep safe from those tornadoes trying to steal your birthday cake.
So we knew if this was the real Tracy Gray, not only was she answering our question, but she must have listened to at least one episode when we talked about my cake.
I cannot believe the story of the cake continues.
I know. So you messaged her back?
I messaged her back, stunned that Trudy had messaged us, telling her how great it was to hear from her, that we did a little dance, maybe. Well, we did kind of big dance. That we asked her, first of all, is it okay if we talked about her messaging us in the podcast? And of course...
And how did she hear about the podcast?
Yes.
Because she clearly listened to at least part of one episode.
Yes.
And she said what, it was a costume designer
so
on the show?
She returned first of all and said that the publicity department had given her the okay to do a little voice hit for us. And that's what you heard.
Yes.
Which you will hear a gazillion times. Because now we are endorsed by Tracy Lee Gray. To hear her say, hey, Maniacs.
That's so fun.
It's just so much fun. So we asked her how she had heard about the show. And she said it was on a Facebook fan page, which means she is lurking on Facebook fan pages.
Which is fun. I would if I were her. I mean, if she's got the time, I would certainly want to know what people thought of the show I was on.
And their incredible costume designer, that's her words. I have all sorts of fantastic words for Tanya Clowens, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, who also wrote the Seance episode. She also wrote the episode, the Day of the Dead episode from the season before. So she's written 2 episodes. She is one of the premier costume designers in New Zealand for television. She just does amazing work. She's won awards for it.
That's awesome.
She obviously, in particular, loves this episode. It is the first picture on her on her website, the Dog Day Afternoon episode. Dog Day Morning, sorry. Then Tracy just took it to another level. She said, you were discussing the Scarecrow episode. It's fun listening to your perspectives on episodes, particularly the prison episode, because I find interesting to know what viewers are for or against Trudy's behavior. I think it says more about the viewers themselves. It's a complex episode, and you guys get a gold star for that one, obviously. Dismount! Tens from the Russian judge. We're done. We're out. Perfection.
I would say Trudy is the most complex character on Brokenwood.
I would absolutely agree. And I
have liked her, and I have disliked her, and I have rooted for her, and I have wanted to slap her. And more often than not, I have that girl's back. I'm like, you go, Trudy.
Yes, absolutely. We know we know a couple of things about Trudy. We know she's no narc right away.
It's aspirational.
And it's aspirational what she's doing. In the latest episode of season 11, which has ties to this episode. Last week we went on and on about how season 7 and 11 are tied. This again is ties.
Yeah.
The last episode, the Ode's Christmas special, which is what I'm calling it now, or Frodo gets his cracker. Tracy's part in that episode is perfection.
Yeah.
It is the right tone it needs to be.
Yep.
In terms of seriousness.
The writers did a really good job, and she does a great job.
Fantastic actress.
And she's super fun in the episode that we're talking about this week, which is season 7, episode 3, Dog Day Morning.
So
she single-handedly takes on a bank robber because she takes no crap off of anybody.
Be prepared for us to mention every time we mention Prudy, friend of the show, Tracy Gray.
Oh, I hope you guys thought that was as fun as we did. We were really stoked.
I'm absolutely stunned. I still can't believe it.
Now I just want her to walk around the set with her phone and just get, a few more people to record something.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Not that I'm begging for
we
that.
We have got excellent responses from Tracy. Absolutely.
Not asking her for anything else, unless she just wants to.
Unless she wants to.
So. We won't say no. All right.
So back to where we were.
Speaking of season 11.
Mystery Maniacs is a comedy recap podcast dedicated to mystery TV. Each week we dig into an episode of the show, including the murders, the mayhems, the loonies, and everything else we love, especially our new friends. This week, the Brokenwood Mysteries, Dog Day Morning, season 7, episode 3. I'm Mark.
I'm Sarah.
If you let your children
Rob Banks
with
dog
masks on, they can listen to the podcast.
We do spoil it. Going back to season 11, we've been doing mini episodes for those, How to Watch Like a Maniac, and the last season 11 mini is now live.
Yes. So we have done 12 episodes in a month and a half. In 6 weeks, we will have done 12 episodes.
It's all good. It's all fun.
Crazy. May we knew was going to be crazy, and we know that probably December will be crazy or January will be crazy.
If we get a new season of Midsummer.
Season of Midsummer.
When we think we're going to. Last week we talked about...
I'm just saying, Fiona, we haven't heard from you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
True. That's true.
Fiona Dolman.
Yeah.
We haven't heard
Sarah
from you.
Sarah Barnaby. Last week we talked about Witches of Brokenwood, and we were kind of at a loss on whether or not Gren was actually trying to kill his wife, Joy, with the St. John's wort extract, because he went in and he stole it out of her room at the spa. Yeah. And was he trying to kill her or not? Was it an accident or not? He tried to, maybe he got her the extract and it was stronger than he thought. Blah, 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 blah. And South Cucumber 9532 on Reddit, I think, has the right answer to this question. So what they say is that Gren did intend to overdose Joy. That's hard to say. Overdose Joy.
Yes.
but changed his mind when they met at the coffee cart, and she said she wanted to get back together.
So then he had to break in.
That's why he
steal it.
snuck in to take it out.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to overdose her after all. But had she not wanted to get with him, he would have been happy to have killed her, apparently.
Yes.
And I think South Cucumber is right about that. So
she also loves our idea of the passive aggressive treehouse.
Yes. But thanks for sending us that answer, because I think
Absolutely.
that's the right explanation. It makes everything make sense.
The big hit off of the top of the show was supposed to be Department Q.
Mm-hmm. On Netflix.
Which is fantastic. There are 9 episodes on Netflix.
It's based on the novels by UC Adler Olson.
Yes.
If you've not read the books and you decide to watch the show, I'm just going to say the first episode is not as gripping as it could be. Give it 2 episodes before you make up your mind.
Yep.
They have a lot of world building to do in the first episode. I was fine with that because I love the books and I knew what was going to happen.
And we knew where it was going.
But if you don't know where it's going, you might get a little impatient.
Yep.
But what's his name? Matthew Good?
Yes.
Is that right? He's nice to look at. Sorry, honey.
It's okay.
But he's really, really good in it. And give it a shot.
That's
Department Q on Netflix.
The individual who plays Karl Mork in we listen to the books, so that's how they say it in the book.
Yeah, because they're Swedish.
In the Swedish movies, is that perfect amount of star good looks and not attractive at the same time.
He looks like he's been noogied all the time.
Like
His
Matthew
hair
Good's a little too good looking.
He's awfully
for this
pretty.
part.
Yeah.
But I think the dialogue is excellent, and I think the adaptation so far. Now, this is an ending they have to stick.
Yep. And we've not made it to the 9th episode
We have not made it
yet.
to the ending yet, so we can't speak on that. We'll speak on that next week or whenever we have another episode. We might need to take a break. But
it's well worth watching. But like I said, make it through know that the first episode is not like mystery right in your face.
Yep.
It's a 9-episode series that covers one story.
Yes.
So they've got to lay some groundwork in the first episode.
It's the first book.
But it's well worth your time.
This episode of Brokenwood,
Dog Day Morning,
was released on the 5th of April, 2021. Mark Beasley directed it.
Co-written by Nick Sampson.
Tim
Ginger
Baum
Ranger.
And Ginger Ranger wrote it.
He leaves his last episode and starts co-writing episodes.
So Dog Day Afternoon is a movie from 1975 starring Al Pacino about a bank robbery that goes badly. Now, they are at least semi-prepared as opposed to these bank robbers. This episode should really be entitled How Not to Rob a Bank.
All I know is that there are so many funny lines in this episode. I thought that the last season 11 episode had a lot of zingers in it.
Yes.
But this one has just as many.
This especially friend of the show,
Trudy,
is excellent, but Frodo just steps to the front of the stage and is a comedic god in this episode.
Well, just the interaction between the bank robbers. They are so inept. But they're not just bad at being bank robbers. They're just idiots,
They are
and the stuff that they say to
stupid
each other
people.
is so funny.
Yeah.
And there's too many odes involved in it too. One ode is too many odes.
Yes, but there's 2. So
No, I mean in the bank robbery.
Yes.
Just the fact that Reese is one of the bank robbers means the level of IQ just went down for all of them.
So Trudy's going to the bank, and we have a season 11 connection right away. And I think we can break this. So one of the questions we asked in the season 11, episode 6, Watch Like a Maniac, was what animal is outside of the cop shop and why? Mm-hmm. We didn't know the why at this point in time.
Not until we rewatched this episode.
And as soon as I saw this episode, I'm like, it's the goat from the savings and loan.
Yeah, there's a phone booth in front of the cop shop that has an ad on the side of it with the goat on it. And you're like, what's that goat doing there?
It's
an ad for the bank.
It's there 4 seasons later.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Boy, are these boys trying to look cool.
Before we get to the bank robbers, Did you notice the coffee cart that's across the street before they go in?
There's 2 coffee carts across the street. There's one that's yellow that I could never get.
It's the black one I was interested in. It says, feed the addiction.
Yes. So this is from thecoffeestore.co.nz.
Oh, is that real?
Yes.
Oh.
They are the people who provide, I'm assuming, the coffee for the show as well
On
as
set?
Frodo's coffee truck.
Oh.
So they have dressed one of their coffee carts to look like Frodo's coffee cart.
Nice.
So, and I have more on that later. I'll put their website in the show notes. Go support these people if you live in NZ.
Feed the addiction.
Feed the addiction. They clearly are cool people and they have fun with what they're doing. So they should on their website say, as seen in Brokenwood.
Yeah, really.
But yeah, Frodo's coffee cart. The same sign is on Frodo's coffee cart. So and the bucket latte is still there.
Yep.
But there's a new sign on Frodo's coffee cart. There's a chalkboard, which again, signs of things to come. Mm-hmm. And on the
Frodo's super relaxed coffee.
It's Frodo's super relaxing coffee.
Yeah. That's kind of the anti-addiction one.
It's so weird.
So the guys I've never seen Dog Day Afternoon. Do they wear suits?
No, they do not wear suits.
So this is almost like a Pulp Fiction thing going on.
This is Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, that's right. Reservoir Dogs. The black suit with the white shirt and the black tie.
And they do look cool coming out of the car.
Except that they park across the street and then look for traffic.
The street. And I used the image on the reminder of them in the costumes, which is the same on the costume and designer website. I think it's a fantastic shot
But as soon as they enter the bank, the dumbness starts.
The dumbness starts right away.
What's the gaming console in the tote bag?
It's an Xbox.
So they've got an Xbox that they claim is a bomb.
It's an X-bomb. I have in my notes.
It's a bomb.
And it's covered in dust. That's the brilliant thing is that it's
a junky old Xbox.
Xbox.
Yeah. And one of them picks up a potted plant and threatens to hit people with it. They immediately start calling each other by name.
Yep.
The teller recognizes the voice of Devin right off the bat.
Trudy is having none of it.
You cannot rob a bank in a small town.
No.
If you are from that small town.
No, everyone would know you.
They would be like, well, there's 25 men who are between 19 and 20 in this town, and they were all missing at this time, so it must be them. Like, it's just too easy to figure out.
The teller reads the note and says, "We have a bone." She's like, well, you're dressed as dogs.
The importance of handwriting.
Yes. Because Trudy has the take from the night before. That's got to be a big bag of money. Mm-hmm. Now, I got to say, you might as well have a little dollar sign on the outside of it.
Yeah, but who's going to mess with Trudy?
Apparently these guys do.
If she wants to take a canvas sack of money into the bank every Friday, nobody's going to get in her way.
There's machinations, which involve them going into the back room, opening up safety deposit boxes, and then there's a gunshot that surprises everyone. The 3 of them leave and get in the car with the 4th getaway driver.
Which is out of gas.
Which quickly runs out of gas.
Because old Essie only puts a liter at a time into it. It's bad for the environment to leave too much gas in the tank.
So then they take off, right? Again, this is Sarah's bugaboo of where are they going to go?
Well, at least they scatter.
But
none of them is smart enough to take the damn suit off.
No.
Change your clothes, idiot.
Trudy doesn't have to spend a lot of brain cells to get detective work here to find.
No. She basically slow walks and catches up with Eli, hiding in the playhouse.
So now we're going to stop the description of all that which happened and move that to when we deal with their testimonies.
Yeah.
Because now we switch to scene of the crime and Sims and Daniel are on the case. Mm-hmm. And they show up and did you catch the tiny little thing that Daniel Chalmers says about Brokenwood?
No.
That he had left 20 years ago.
Oh, that's right. Because later on, Sims says, how is it to be back?
Yeah. So I completely had forgotten that.
He went to the big city.
Yeah. He went to the Big Smoke. And
so you think he would have come back with a higher rank?
You would think so.
He's a detective constable, right?
It usually takes 6 years in most police forces to get out of uniform if you're really trying for. Mm-hmm. But maybe he didn't join the police till later on. That's
true. It's not like he's how old can he be? What, 35?
Yeah, maybe.
So he wasn't maybe he wasn't an adult when he left.
Mike arrives and doesn't know what an Xbox is.
What does he think it is? He opens the bag and he goes, "Oh, a VCR or something." I don't remember what he says, but poor Bernie is face down in his cake on his last day of work before he retires. It's the worst. I mean, everybody talks about, you retire and then you drop dead soon after.
Yeah.
But on the day, Jan made him a cake.
Yeah. And Bernie's as nice. We find out, Bernie is salt of the earth. Yeah. Super good guy. Absolutely fantastic. Nicholas goes, one of the guys was Devin Barnes. Totally gives him up right away.
Why would you not?
Yes.
But Nicholas, I was suspicious of. I remember the first time
they do a really good
watched
job.
It, I was sure he was involved.
They do a good job of showing what Nicholas, I don't think it's a bad character thing that Nicholas is scared and he runs away.
Well, so the robbers are in black suits, black ties, and white shirts. And Nicholas is wearing a very dark navy suit with a navy tie and a white shirt. On black and white CCTV, it would be identical.
Yep.
He could easily slip in the back and put a mask on and join them. He could have easily been part of it. No question. He's not, but he could have been. So it was a good red herring, I think.
I would say that.
And I would completely trust these guys to whack him too hard with a gun when they were not supposed to.
Yeah.
They were just supposed to lightly tap him.
I would say that's probably friend of the show, Tanya's excellent costume work.
Yeah, it's thoughtful.
Yeah.
Because it means that he could be one of them.
Yes.
You get to consider it.
And Devin Barnes has a job, though, sort of.
Well, he got fired 3 weeks ago from the Porky Pigeon because he was a delivery driver with no license. What a dummy. He goes and puts on the sandwich board. That's going to hide the fact that he's still in his shirt and tie.
Okay, first of all, Ray, are you not checking a license before...
When you hire somebody?
When you're hiring somebody. So he's the sign guy now, which he's not. And he has the dog mask in the trash.
This is how dumb he is, right? He gets away from the bank, goes to a place where he's already been fired. And I can only think that sandwich board was set up more like an easel out front the restaurant. And he runs up and puts it on.
Yes.
And then walks in front of the restaurant. At least go inside. If you're going to try to hide, he's like, "Oh, no, I've been at work all morning." The burglary was at 9. The Porky Pigeon probably isn't even open yet.
In addition to all the other things we said, this is another episode in which a group of people think they're way smarter than the cops.
Yeah.
Much like the Oates family Christmas.
Yeah. They're just dum-dums.
The car is left at the scene, so they know whose car it is. Mm-hmm. So they trundle on over to the house
to see Essie.
So did you see Reese Oates is her driving instructor?
Why he's qualified to teach anybody anything, I don't know.
Did you see his card?
It was handwritten.
But you didn't see the detail at the very end?
No.
It has Reese Oates. It has his phone number. It has driving instructor / Can you guess what comes after the /
Ambulance driver.
Stunt driver. That is a beautiful little nugget that only maniacs get.
Maybe he is a good driver. He ends up being an ambulance driver later.
He doesn't.
Maybe he's actually good at it. When they do talk to Frodo in his coffee cart.
His name is also Oates.
Yeah.
Because Kristen's like,
he's parked in front of the bank.
I know an Oates.
They're like, well, do you know about Reese? He's like, why would I know where Reese is? Well, come to think of it, he is my brother. Well, my stepbrother. Well, half stepbrother. Well, my stepmom married my uncle.
So
what?
Frodo says this. Frodo says his stepmom married his uncle after she left his dad. Mm-hmm. We still don't know about Frodo's mom.
No.
We know who his dad is. And now we know who his uncle is.
An uncle. We don't know if it's the same one. There might be
uncle.
more than one brother.
Since Frodo's dad is so prodigious.
He has 13 children by 10 women.
Maybe
we find out.
We have lots of uncles.
There could be more than one uncle.
I love how that's introduced. Well, he's my brother.
Yeah. If anybody wants to take on the project of creating the Oates family tree, go for it.
Yes. The delivery from Frodo here is fantastic comic timing.
When did you see him last? Oh, I haven't seen him for ages. Well, not since this morning.
Yeah, just great line delivery, great lines, and great line delivery.
Not as good as when Chalmers goes into the pub for the first time to meet Trudy.
Oh.
And he introduces himself and she says, didn't you used to have red hair? and he just gives her the look like, I got you. I know who you are now.
I know everything about you already.
Well,
because Sims warns him. She's like,
kind of. She lets him. She doesn't warn him in advance. She's like, oh no, you go talk to her. But then when he comes back, she's like, well, she's never, very cooperative. And he's like, oh no, I got lots of stuff.
Yeah, she's super nice to me.
No problem.
I didn't even have to take my coat off. Come on.
Hal, I mean, yeah, you do the guns, his arms. His arms are so bulky that his little short sleeve shirts, the cuff of the sleeves have a little split in them to accommodate his guns.
Yes.
Now, what I want to know is if Chalmers went in to see Gina, whether Gina would be as nice to him.
Well, it would depend if he mentioned pinball and or sex.
That's true.
So we find out that Gina likes pinball, which all good people like pinball.
Nothing says tasty pigeon like a giant mangy pigeon. There are so many good lines in this. Eli, so he's one of the robbers. He's the one that Trudy chases to the playhouse and breaks his arm and takes her money back.
So let's cover that part of the story.
He has fantastic hair.
First of all, fantastic hair.
How does he fit it in that mask?
How does he fit it in the mask? And then there's a one point later on, really, really low level. He goes, almost as an afterthought, he goes, you can't see in those masks anyway. I'm like, because your hair is all over your face, dude.
We happen to have a nearly identical mask to that mask, and you cannot see out of it.
You cannot see out of it. Don't ask us why we have.
It was for a stage play of The Thing. Does that answer your question? Now you know.
Now you know. So Eli runs away, and he hides in a Wendy house poorly.
He's doing his best. He's limping and out of breath.
Because he has Trudy's bag. How Tracy Gray is not laughing.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
So she then gets Action Tracy.
Yeah.
Right? She breaks his arm. Yeah. And that's...
She has lessons from prison.
That's I don't like Trudy breaking his arm, but he did steal a bunch of, her wages are in there.
Yeah. You hear the crunch.
Yeah. It's very well done.
I think he got off light. She could have done more.
So Eli runs home after and then he's later identified and the cops show up at his house. He's still in the suit.
Well, he can't change clothes. His arm's broken.
He can't change clothes.
I can't imagine how much that
would hurt. But he shoved the dog mask down his pants.
Yeah.
Which Chalmers pulls out immediately.
It's not smart.
He has told his girlfriend, Porky Pie, he's told her that they've won the lottery.
She's not much sharper than he is.
No. And they have gone to the bank to get a loan, but they were refused getting the loan.
Bernie was a nice guy.
I'm sure Bernie went out of his way to try to get them a loan.
Yeah.
And I love how it's implied that he doesn't come across as the sleazy guy at all.
They have a credit score. It's a quantitative thing. I'm sure he's not allowed to do it if it's below a certain point. And it is, and he can't do anything about it.
The address they give for Eli's house is a real address in Auckland.
Well, Caleb lives on Dead Rabbit Lane.
16 Dead Rabbit Lane.
Who names a road Dead Rabbit Lane?
Do not know.
Like, is that how they name roads in New Zealand? The first thing you see when you walk down it is with the name of it. Well, there's a dead rabbit on the side of the road. Let's call it Dead Rabbit Lane.
You have questioned already the Oates family tree. Mm-hmm. I have another family tree that we need to investigate.
Okay.
The Dennis Buchanan family tree. Because he says, when they arrive at Caleb's house, something about his 5-year-old nephew. Mm-hmm. Now, if you remember, Dennis Buchanan's brother is married to a horse.
Yeah.
How does he have a 5-year-old nephew?
I think he's just lying.
I guess.
I think he's just making it up.
Maybe. I'm like,
because there are no other siblings.
We know there are no other siblings.
It's just him and his brother who's married to a horse. And we say that like that makes sense in reality. Because if there was another sibling, we would have found out in that episode, and we didn't. So I think he's just making it up.
I was like, what? 5-year-old nephew? How did that come about? Next, Kristen gets shot.
Yeah, they play that off.
So they go to Kristen.
She gets shot with an assault rifle style paintball gun at about 5 feet.
Which would have really
she would have
hurt.
A giant bruise. I looked it up.
Oh, absolutely. And it's Kristen. She would have went home and changed.
I don't know. She's hot on the trail of a murderer.
I suppose.
It's just a little spot of paint. Though it would be a much bigger spot of paint, wouldn't it?
It would be. I just
Plus, Crazy Tony is a moron. Last time we saw him, he was wearing a duck hat.
Crazy Tony has been in a ton of episodes. I keep forgetting that Crazy Tony's been in a ton of episodes.
It's most fun to shoot humans. I mean, but for like paintball, you know.
He's in the duck hunting episode.
Yeah. We get that gross scene of Caleb shooting a dead possum over and over. He's creepy.
Yeah, I don't. Caleb is really weird. At this point in time, I think Dennis answers the phone and he says that he's the barrister to the star. There are no stars.
No.
Now, he should say barrister to royalty.
That's true, but he's not.
No.
We know that he's not. The Earl is not really an Earl.
We find that Devon's grandfather tried to rob this bank.
In 1976.
And he's reminiscing with him about this and giving him the idea with the world's worst scrapbook. Mm-hmm. So the world's worst scrapbook on the page before the robbery includes the following headlines on articles. Seal saga continues.
Like aquatic seals?
Yes.
Okay.
And then local pumpkin wins.
Okay. Why do you think he clipped those news stories for his scrapbook?
Then it's right to the next page to the article that we've seen before. And that article is full of information, including that Bernie was the teller that he took into the bank vault. Mm-hmm. So all that information is in that.
So Kenny's like, I'm going to make a scrapbook about my failed bank robbery. But on page 1, I'm going to put the headlines from the day before.
I guess.
To remember what life was like before I robbed the bank.
I guess.
Seals and pumpkins. That was the biggest deal.
Then we are transported to the magical world of 1970s Brokenwood.
Sideburns and polyester and disco music equal 1976.
The bank posters have changed. They have a fantastic sort of vintage poster right in the middle of where the tellers are.
I was alive in 1976. You could almost drive.
I could remember 1976.
You were 7. You were probably seeing movies you shouldn't have on your own.
Totally got his finger in his coat.
Yeah. It's a gun.
It's a gun.
So they take Eli to the hospital under guard, right? From his house because his arm is broken.
Yeah.
And then they got him in the cop shop and he's got his cast on.
Yeah.
It's such a good touch. It says love from Snoogie on it.
Love from Snoogie. And that's the only thing on the cast.
But Sam, his fiance, girlfriend, pregnant girlfriend, has written love from Snoogie in marker on his arm. And the sling is thin enough that you can read it.
I know that Eli's probably going to go up the river a little bit. But
I feel bad for Sam. She's going to have that baby on her own.
But I hope those kids make it. I do. I feel for them.
They're not smart enough. I don't know. I won the lottery. You did? Okay.
Well, he always has a job as a frontline brand ambassador.
That's true.
That is such fantastic business school speech there.
I have to admit that.
We work at a business school here in Indiana, and that is fantastic business school speech because what they are talking about is Eli wears the costume.
Yes,
the pigeon costume. Now, I wasn't sure, but it is the same costume that Ray is shown in episode 1 of this series.
They give us a little flashback of the one scene of the robbery.
Yes.
That is a perfect example of how dumb these guys are.
Yes.
2 of them run into each other. They collide.
They almost knock each other down.
And I think it's Eli says, go get Caleb. And the other one says, I'm Caleb. And don't say my name, you idiot. Go get Devin. They're so stupid.
They're so incredibly stupid. They also don't close their browser, as we'll get to the culprit of the event.
Yeah, so Kenny can open it.
So
but they're on the dark web, Mark.
No, they're not. They're on supervillain.co.nz. Just not a real website.
That's the supervillain store? What else do they sell besides plastic masks?
They sell a Dracula
Laser guns?
mask, a green mask, a yellow mask, a clown mask, and a Frankenstein mask.
That's just the mask page of supervillain. They've got to have like a laser gun page and like a spaceship page.
It's all costume stuff like that.
That's no fun.
Why
would that be on the dark web?
I don't know. It's not real supervillains. They paid way too much for these masks. When they walked up to the computer to order the masks, I was really scared that they were going to go to Archie McPhee because you can buy this mask at Archie McPhee.
I think that's where I got it.
I think so.
That's why we have one, that's where I got it.
Archie McPhee, if you don't know, is the greatest importer of useless crap.
Novelty. And the Rubber Chicken Museum.
Rubber Chicken Museum, which I went to in Seattle.
It's fantastic.
It is indeed.
They want, after Frodo offers to be Reese's lawyer and puts on a suit that's 5 sizes too big for him and brings in the nautical
New Zealand
law
Maritime Law, 3rd edition.
They decide to put all of the culprits in one room together and let them be stupid and out each other, and they do, of course. But at the end, Reese stands up and he says, I peed on my car. Like, there, I said it. I did it. I peed on my car. Which, of course, Frodo has said is totally legal because it was his car, so it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's okay to do that.
It's okay.
How would you know that, Frodo?
It's okay.
I know.
It's okay to pee on your own car.
Mike makes a visit to Dr. Hypothetical. Hypothetically, if this happened.
I think she's the only doctor in Brokenwood.
I think so.
She runs that whole hospital
all by herself. She's doing scheduling.
Yeah.
What doctor do you know that you call?
Schedules their own appointments.
And we find out that everybody loves Stamps who's over 50 in this episode.
Men over 50.
Men over 50.
Because Angelique, Kenny's wife, she's not into Stamps.
No.
She's into being on the job.
And we find that I gave up all that. We find that there are important stamps. Now, there is a thing that I think happens. I want you to confirm or deny this.
Okay.
Devin keeps saying box 42, box 42, box 42, right? He says it a million times. And when Bernie goes into to confront,
when Kenny
goes in to confront Bernie, he asks for box 24. Do you think Devin has dyslexia?
I think Kenny's been lying to him.
Oh, okay.
All this time.
You think Kenny's been lying to him? Okay.
He has absolutely set up his own grandson.
Okay.
Because he's an asshole.
Yes. Kenny is fantastically evil.
He's the worst.
He's horrible.
Yeah.
First of all, he doesn't have a good enough relationship with his ex-prostitute wife that she can tell him that she's sick. And he hasn't even noticed.
Yep.
He's so self-absorbed.
He's been faking being more disabled than he is and letting her take care of him.
A cancer diagnosis like she gets, it's difficult to fake not being sick when you're that sick. So she's taking care of him.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't need any of that.
No.
Like, when they all leave the house, he must be up dancing jigs
Doing whatever he wants.
And then he frames his grandson.
Yeah.
He's just
plants the idea in his
after
head.
killing somebody.
Yeah. Plants the idea in his head so that he can pull off the caper that he regrets not pulling off.
Which is some weird, like, vanity thing.
It's totally vanity.
And Mike plays into it so well at the end.
Yeah. He does the whole, well, you failed.
Yep.
Everybody knows, now there's 2 generations of failed bank robbers in your family.
Yep.
And Bernie's just doing his job and wants to retire and have a cake.
Yeah.
And has been sitting on those inverted Kakapo stamps for 45 years.
And, like, they're his stamps.
Yeah.
And they're his retirement.
It's not like he stole them from Kenny.
No.
Kenny was too stupid to realize their value back in 1976.
I'll tell you.
And left him behind.
I'll tell you the ultimate stupidity. So Devin wears a wire. So the cops are nearby listening. They hear a scuffle and they come running into the house. And in the middle of this intense action scene where we get action Mike, action Sims, and action Daniel, I'm like, wait a minute. There's a box there that says supervillains.com. They didn't even put away the boxes.
That's Kenny. Because Kenny ordered a mask after they did.
Yeah.
He absolutely goads him into confessing.
Then he goes to grab the gun and Action Sims tackles him.
I shot myself in the arse.
I shot myself in the arse.
He deserves that too.
Does indeed deserve that. Mike makes a Nadia Comaneci reference, which Sims and Chalmers are like, who?
Yeah. They know gymnast.
I don't know. That's 1976 Olympics.
But they get the joke.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So Sims almost gets shot twice. She gets shot once.
I feel so bad for Devin, though.
Yeah.
Because he wears that wire because he's sure they're wrong about his grandfather.
They're sure
and they
he's
are
wrong.
not wrong.
And
that is so devastating. I mean, he's been raised by his grandpa and his step-grandma, and his parents are out of the picture. And this is the person who he's looked up to. And he finds out that he was willing to let him go to prison.
And they
for
do
murder.
Such a good job in this episode of serious and non-serious.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest. This is Dog Day Afternoon, Reservoir Dogs, Snatch, all put together. Mm-hmm. Right? With
a big dose of dumb.
With a big dose of dumb, right? All together. And deals with that loss of grandpa in a way that makes you feel sorry for Devin at the end.
Well, both Nicholas and Devin have lost their parents. They should be friends.
Like, Nicholas has a really tough life.
Yeah.
And he,
looked up to Bernie, and Bernie was shot.
Yeah.
For no good reason.
Absolutely none. Greed.
Ego.
And he couldn't.
Why does Kenny tape the stamps to his chest?
I don't know. It's like Super Stamps Kenny.
I thought he was going to open his shirt and have like a bomb under there or something.
An Xbox.
Just the controller taped to his chest with the buttons.
Okay, so we have a ton to do in cleanup for this episode. Okay.
Yeah.
So first of all, let's cover some of the after the credits.
Yes.
Okay. Trudy, performed by the amazing Tracy Gray, goes on and does amazing things with her brother Ray.
Yep.
Ray's almost a sub-character now.
Yeah. It's the Trudy Show.
It's the Trudy Show. So Eli and his girlfriend.
Well, let's just talk about the 4 burglars.
The 4 burglars.
Reese, Devin, Caleb, and Eli.
I think if anybody's not going up the pogey, it's Reese.
Right.
Right. And we see Reese again in more episodes. So
Devin and Caleb are definitely the most culpable.
And I think go up the pogey.
Yeah. I think they go to prison.
Yeah.
Not for a huge amount of time, but for some. Though Caleb's got money, so he may buy himself out of it.
He also has the barrister to the stars.
Yes.
So I think that's the other movie I was thinking this reminds me of. It's very much like Raising Arizona because they don't have deadly weapons, right? So they're trying to get away from being charged with armed robbery because that's the whole pretense of part of Raising Arizona is that he doesn't have a loaded weapon, so it's not armed robbery.
Right.
Also stupid robberies.
I don't think Eli's going away for long. Maybe 6 months or something.
Maybe.
He's got a pretty minimal part. And they weren't successful, you know?
And he's got a broken arm to deal with.
But Kenny is going to jail for murder.
Kenny is going to jail for murder and robbery again.
Yeah.
In
aggravated robbery.
In the U.S., it would be felony murder because he committed the murder
while committing another felony.
While committing a felony. So
yeah. And I think Angelique is going to visit Devin in prison, but not Kenny.
I think so.
She's done with him.
She's got to be done with him.
She calls him out.
It does follow the rule that anyone who shows up in a wheelchair in a television episode eventually gets up from that wheelchair and moves around. Unless you're in an Agatha Christie episode where they play on that playing on. Where
they do the double slip.
They do the double slip. Sorry for the spoilers for a 25-year-old show, but...
Sam's going to have the baby, and I think Eli's not going to be there, but shortly after he'll be there.
I think so. Will he continue to work as the brand ambassador?
Maybe he'll get a new job as a brand ambassador.
Well, we don't see much of Ray's establishment anymore.
The Porky Pigeon?
We see the boxes.
Yeah.
But we don't see
He
the
starts
store.
to put more of his entrepreneurial focus on the pubs.
Yes. And making them aspirational.
Yes.
I know we're hitting this pretty hard, but just to give you an indication of Tracy's maniac behavior, she posted on her Instagram all the posters in the latest episode of season 11, all the posters that were in the pub.
Nice.
Like close-ups of those posters.
Thanks, Tracy. That's helpful to us.
I'm like, yes, please. Dennis Buchanan goes on to be the fantastic Dennis Buchanan.
Mm-hmm. Reese goes on to be an ambulance driver after he does Anytime. I don't know if he does Anytime.
I think Dennis Buchanan's in every season.
Maybe.
I think so. Chalmers goes on to be excellent, popping his guns.
This is another episode where there are firearms and Mike says no thanks.
Yes.
He always turns down a gun.
Yep, he always does.
And
Chalmers like, okay, I'll get two-fisted now.
Well, he came from the Big Smoke.
He comes from the Big Smoke.
He knows about violence.
Knows about those gangs and things.
So that is Dog Day Morning.
Wow.
What's our next one? What's season 7, episode 4?
Season 7, episode 4 is entitled Something Nasty in the Market.
Ooh.
Which I think is a direct reference to the book and movie, which is Cold Comfort Farm, which if you haven't seen it, is fantastic.
Rufus Sewell.
Rufus Sewell, Ian McKellen.
Yeah.
It's
everybody.
It's just fantastic.
It's such a good movie. I can't say anything about the story, the book, whatever. I didn't read it, but the movie is fantastic.
But the line is repeated several times in the movie and the book. There's something nasty in the woodshed.
Yes.
Until the greatest comeback line of all time is said back to that, that she had seen something nasty in the woodshed. So I think it's a direct reference to that. It's a farmer's market episode. So there are all sorts of fun things to go along with that.
So what have we learned from this episode? We've learned don't do bank robberies with morons.
Yes. We've learned that an Xbox is not a bomb.
Yes.
We've learned that when you steal things, tape them to your chest.
And don't try to steal from Trudy because she will get you.
She will kick your ass.
Chase you all the way to the Wendy house, all the way to the Playhouse. Take you down. All right. Until next week. Bye, Maniacs.
Bye, Maniacs. Thanks for joining us on the Mystery Maniacs podcast. If you enjoyed our crazy podcast today, don't miss out on future episodes. Follow us on social media for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and exclusive sneak peeks. Subscribe, like, and share to spread the word. Bye, Maniacs. We find out that Nicholas's grandfather tried to rob this bank.
No, Devin.
Oh, sorry.
Nicholas is the bank teller.
Okay.